Imagine this. You're leading a group of kids on an orienteering course. One of them wants to climb a tree, and another runs ahead to find the next control point. What do? Do you step in for safety, or let them take the risk? Welcome back to Research Unplugged, where we take the tangled world of academic studies, strip away the jargon, and plug you into the ideas that matter. I'm Professor Plum, and today we're focusing on a paper called An Ethnography of the Outdoor Classroom, How Teachers Manage Risk in the Outdoors. It's packed with insights about how teachers' decisions impact children's learning, and we're here to break it down in a way that's clear, engaging, and delve into why they've used what they have. So, let's start with a brief summary of the paper. This ethnographic qualitative study examines how teachers manage risk during outdoor activities with primary school children at a UK residential centre. The research found that teachers often adapt a controlling approach, driven by safety concerns and fear of litigation. Limatas and van der Maspila support the point that this can limit children's opportunities for independent problem solving and risk assessing. This overly cautious approach can hinder learning and development, as it restricts children's freedom to explore and experiment in a safe environment. Through this paper, let's explore the world of theoretical position, methods, methodology, and ethical considerations in a way that's accessible for everyone. In this paper, it takes an interpretive approach or paradigm, but what does this mean? Firstly, let's define paradigm. Stansfield explains the term by defining it as nothing more than a mode or belief system of some aspects of reality that people wish to explain or control. A paradigm, by name, is not reality. It is not the thing itself. It is not the truth itself. A paradigm is what someone says their belief is. So, imagine two friends looking at a glass of water. One of them sees it as half full because they focus on what's there. The other sees it as half empty, focusing on what's missing. They're both looking at the same glass, but their unique lens of life shape how they understand it. That's what a paradigm is. It's like the lens you use to see the world. In research, your paradigm shapes how you approach a problem. For this study, the researchers used an interpretivist paradigm, which focuses on understanding people's unique experiences, like how teachers see and manage risk. But what is that? As O'Hara shares in Empire State, interpretivism is developed through subjective perspective. It's more concerned with in-depth variables and factors related to a context. It considers humans as different from physical phenomena, as they create further depths and meanings with the assumption that human beings cannot be explained in a similar way to physical phenomena. Interpretivism considers differences such as cultures, circumstances, as well as times leading to development of different social realities. Before we hit the scenario, there are two big types of phenomena: physical and social. A physical phenomena, like a river flowing, follows natural laws. It's straightforward, measurable. But a social phenomena is much more layered. Their reactions depend on things like their culture, past experiences, and even the situation at that moment. Now that we've covered the boring long words, let's hit the scenario. Okay, so imagine wearing blue tinted glasses. Everything is cool and calm. Switch to red tinted ones, and bam, suddenly the world feels fiery and intense. Same view, just different vibes, right? Exactly, that's interpretivism. It shows how our unique glasses, or experiences, culture, and beliefs shape our subjective reality. Everyone interprets the world differently, creating their own version of what's real. So, reality isn't one fixed thing. Everyone's living their own version of it. Exactly. Humberstone and Stan use this lens to explore how teachers manage risk in the outdoors by focusing on teachers' subjective experiences and interpretations of risk. They reveal how these perspectives shape their behaviour and ultimately the learning experiences of their students. Now, because we have simplified these terms, we can explore why this is a suitable paradigm for the paper. Interpretivism is all about getting into people's heads, understanding how they see and make sense of the world. We can see that the paper implicitly uses an interpretivist approach because it doesn't explicitly state the use of the paradigm. The research focuses on how cultural norms and societal values shape perceptions of risk and subjective meaning, especially in a risk-averse society. This is clear in its critique of how teachers' controlling behaviours can limit children's independence and learning, as supported by Kay in her book. This approach gives us a deep and detailed look at how people interact with risk due to their experiences, especially in complex situations like managing risk in outdoor education. It's great for uncovering unique insights, but there are trade-offs. Like as Wang states, the researcher's presence could unintentionally influence behaviour. Or, as Mahidi relays, relying on subjective interpretations can introduce bias, ultimately relying excessively in their instincts and assuming that is the solidified truth. Still, it's worth it because it helps us understand the cultural attitudes and values that shape how we learn and experience the world around us. Humberstone and Stan recognise the outdoor classroom as a dynamic social environment where interactions and perceptions shape the learning experience. Interpretivism is suitable because it opens the door to understanding this complexity, embracing the idea that multiple reality interpretations coexist in the same space. This paper's methodology has taken an ethnographic approach, and these are big scary words, so let's break them down. Stan and Humberstone explained ethnography as a qualitative research method in which the researcher studies a particular social/cultural group with the aim to better understand it. Ethnographers join in with the group to see things from the inside and share a similar experience. In writing ethnography, they create an account of the group based on this participation and interviews with the group members. Now that we've defined the term, we can create a scenario to better understand it. Right, so I'm at the outdoor centre watching kids try the ropes course. The teacher steps in right away and says, "Hold on tight." The kids look a bit nervous but listen. That's participant observation. You're quietly observing the teacher's actions without interfering. You're taking notes on how the teachers manage risk and how the kids react. After the activity, I sit down with the teacher for a semi-structured interview. I ask, "Why do you focus so much on safety?" She says, "It's my responsibility to protect the kids." Exactly. The interview helps you understand the why behind the teacher's actions. Ethnography isn't just about what happens, it's uncovering the deeper reasons for these behaviours. By observing and interviewing, you get the full picture of how risk is managed in the outdoors. So, now that we've conceptualised these definitions, you may be wondering how this links back to the paper. But don't worry, because we'll be connecting the dots. The researchers chose ethnography so they could fully immerse themselves in the outdoor centre, becoming part of the environment they were studying. This let them observe interactions up close, gain personal perspectives, and truly understand the specific factors in shaping how risk was managed. But like I said earlier, this type of methodology comes with downfalls. Because it relies on the researcher's perspective, it can heavily sway how these observations are interpreted due to their unconscious bias. Also, because they're actively observing, it could alter how participants usually behave. This includes teachers moderating their usual actions because they are aware they're being watched. This combination worked well because it created a fuller picture, linking visible behaviours to the internal attitudes and societal pressures influencing them, which was central to understanding the complexities of risk management explored in the paper. With Hilton and Merriam-Webster, Alano et al., and Franking et al., all proving evidence in their publications. These methods uncovered how societal pressures, like litigation concerns stated by Katsayanis et al., and personal anxieties influence teachers' tendencies to over-control activities, often limiting children's opportunities for exploration and growth, like Bryn and Clark suggests. This thought-through combination of method and methodology was a key anchor that created a hallmark of their qualitative approach, allowing the researchers to gather rich, in-depth data that captured the full intricacy of risk management in the outdoor classroom. But what is this qualitative approach? Now, when it comes to research, there are two big players in the game, qualitative and quantitative data. Think of it like two different tools in your adventure kit. One's a magnifying glass for exploring the details up close, and the other's a map that gives you the big picture. Let's dive into what sets these two apart and why the researchers in this study chose to focus on qualitative data to uncover the deeper stories of the participants. As Lynn as well as Bell and Waters state, qualitative research with its emphasis on context, existence, experience, perspective, meaning, and subjectivity offers a unique lens through which to explore and interpret the complexities of social phenomena, which is in contrast to quantitative research, not as contradictory, but as complementary, each with its distinct strengths and areas of application. On the contrast, Watson states that quantitative research encompasses a range of methods concerned with the systematic investigation of social phenomena, using statistical and numerical data. Therefore, quantitative research involves measurement and assumes that the phenomenon under study can be measured. Quantitative research sets out to gather data using measurement to analyse this data for trends. Quantitative research encompasses this entire spectrum. So, Why did the researchers go for qualitative research instead of quantitative? It's simple. The outdoor classroom isn't about numbers, it's about stories, experiences, and the why behind behaviours. Qualitative research captures what quantitative can't. Let's break it down into a scenario. Alright, let's say you're studying a group of kids on a ropes course. One's zipping through, another is hesitating, and a third is calling for help. Now, if you're using quantitative data, here's what you'd focus on. You'd count on how many kids completed the course, measure how long it took, calculate the height of the ropes. It's all about the stats, what's measurable, recordable and clear. Great for trying some numbers, right? But here's the thing, it won't tell you why that one kid hesitated or what was going through the teacher's mind when they decided to intervene. That's where qualitative data comes in. With qualitative data, you'd observe how the teachers interacted with the kids. Maybe even sit down with them after and ask, why did you step in when that kid hesitated? It's about exploring thoughts, emotions and motivations, things you can't measure with numbers. And that's why this paper is qualitative. The researchers weren't just counting how often the teachers intervened, they wanted to know the why behind their decisions. Like fear of litigation and beliefs about what's best for the kids. It's all about understanding the human side of the story, and that's where qualitative research shines. And for the last segment, we'll dive into the world of ethics. We're going to cover informed consent, criminal record checks, and pseudonyms, because in the solace of research, privacy paves the way for honest exploration. So what does this mean? Applebaum states that informed consent denotes a person's autonomous agreement to propose course of action, usually in a treatment or research context. This meant that participants could make an informed decision to take part by seeing what the study detailed. As Brewer explains, pseudonyms protect the privacy of participants and is a key ethical consideration in research involving humans. It is intended to reduce the potential for psychological, economic, or physical harms participants may experience from being associated with their research data. Lastly, they're required to get a criminal records bureau check due to working with children. This ensured that they had no criminal history and were able to safely carry out the study. These steps weren't just about ticking boxes, they were about creating a safe, respectful environment for meaningful research. Today, we dove into the core of research, covering theoretical position, the foundation that guides our thinking, explored methods and methodologies, the tools the researchers use to investigate, and unpacked the differences between qualitative and quantitative data, showing why they picked what they did. And that's a wrap for Research Unplugged, where we make the complex become clear, one idea at a time. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.